Hi, welcome to Faith and Family. We are a Christian family community that provides Christian advice and promotes Christian values. I'm Mariel Gutierrez from Fremont, California, and I'm a mother of two. And today we're talking about the importance of finding teachable moments. Moments that spark spiritual awareness in our children. And joining me today are Harmony and Jewel Buenavista from San Diego, California. They've got 3 kids of their own. Hi, guys.
Hi,
Hello.
Mar. How
So,
are
Mar?
you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Recently, Harmony and I read a study that actually showed that 70% of young adults today drop out of religion,
Wow.
which is pretty scary. I mean, Mar, we have 3 young children, a 7-year-old daughter who acts like she's 30, and a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old son. And they're still very young, and
Right.
so and reading this, it makes us think about, as busy as our lives are, what can we do to make sure that our kids do not drop out of religion, or they do not, that they will always see how important it is to have religion in their life and to have God in their life.
As parents, as Iglesia Ni Cristo parents, it's our worst nightmare for our child to drop out of religion and to stop believing in
Yes.
God.
Oh yeah.
As parents and as members of the church, we can prevent this because we have an advantage. The church provides us with all the tools that we need. The worship service lessons provide guidance to the parents. The kids learn about God through the children's worship services. And if we ever had questions about anything, the ministers are always ready to answer based on the words written in the Bible.
Yes.
On top of that, as parents, we need to make a conscious effort to get to know our children so that we can evaluate how to instill the teachable moments. But then how do we find the time?
You know,
At least for me, well, both of us actually. During the course of the week, we alternate. Jewel actually tries to volunteer in the kids' school. So yeah, like if she volunteers in Jasmine's class, I'll take the other one out for lunch. Like Hayden, because they go to the same school. Those are the times that I try to connect with them during our lunchtime, that we chat, see what's going on in school, kind of gauge to see if they're having kind of any problems, or if they're having a hard time with anything at
So you're
school.
telling me that you go out of your way to have an intimate one-on-one, like time, hangout time with each individual child?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Wow.
it's like you said, we have to make time. We have to find the time to do
So
it.
life can get busy, and according to the Washington Post, this article that I read, parents spend less than 7 minutes a day communicating with their children. And I don't know if you're going to argue with me, Harmony, but it says that on average, men tend to spend less time than women. Is this true? How are we able to squeeze in time for our kids to talk about things that matter to us, especially as members of the Church of Christ? Like, what matters to us the most is God, right? So, how do we actually take that time? How do we go out of our way to make sure that we talk about the important things?
We kind of remind them, like if you have a test or anything like that, make sure you pray, because you know God is the one that's going to help you. Right when they get home, it's homework, and it's the same thing. We kind of instill in them, like, before you do your homework, what are you supposed to do? And then the kids know now, like, we're supposed to pray because God's going to help us when we do our homework.
That's good. So you've
um,
integrated it into certain aspects of your daily routine then, right? So
yes,
that God
correct.
is always kind of in the forefront of their mind. I'm going to have a test. Wait, I got to pray.
Mhm.
I'm going to do homework. I
Yes.
should probably pray too.
even when they get a paper cut, or they get hurt. Um, wow, so let's pray, because so that God can heal your owie, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
And it's really cool to see when their owies are healing. It's like, mom, look, God is healing my owies, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
it's literally everything, not just big events. I think a lot of times people think we need to have big events that happens in our lives for us to realize that God is there.
Right,
But
right.
it's for even the little things. every week we sit down and then we talk about like what are your goals for the next week, when it comes to
School,
school, your how are you going to help your family, and then most especially what can you do to help um,
your faith.
your faith. And so I mean it's as simple as like Jasmine, she's in the choir now, she's like, oh, I'm going to organize my hymn book,
Oh, yeah.
and so but it's instilling that like, oh, I got to do something for God because that's most important for me.
Mm-hmm.
um and another thing that we do, the 3 jars, I don't know if you've heard about that, Mar,
No, I haven't. You have to
where
explain. Are they
yes, so
jars of cookies?
basically, no, it's the 3 jars. So the first jar is a jar for God,
Oh.
and the second jar is for money you save for bank, and the third jar is for like toys or fun, right?
Is there allowance that we give them every
Yes.
week? That's why.
So if they do
Yeah.
good, so it's an allowance. But the rule is, so whatever money, so let's say they get $5 in a week or something. The rule is they have to always put money
In all three.
in the all three, but the first one is always God.
Oh, wow. You're
You
already
know?
teaching them about setting aside right
Yes,
now.
yes. And then secondly is savings, and then which is the bank, and then the third is
Fun.
is fun or
Those are
toys.
good tips. I'm taking note of those jars. Maybe I'm gonna have a big like chocolate jar, a bigger God jar. But definitely for us too, we do our best to integrate um, our membership as Church of Christ. The things we stand for, our values, things like that. Even the content of our prayers. You know, I've taught the kids that when you pray before school, don't forget to pray to remember that you are a member of the Church of
Yeah.
Christ. And of course, they'll ask me, like, wait, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, everything that you're learning in CWS, so every situation you face, that's the thing that I want to be in the forefront of their mind.
Oh yeah.
For me, car rides, it sounds to be honest with you, it's really underrated. Car rides. I pick up my kids. I literally go to school 3 times a day. Unfortunately, the bell times of both my kids are different, and so I drop them off at 8. I pick up my son at 11, and then I pick up my daughter at 3. But it accumulates to about a good total of maybe an hour where we're in the car.
Yeah.
I was guilty of before, like whenever I drive, I just be like, this is my time to tune out, to clear my mind. And but it was such a waste. The most recent conversation I had with my daughter in the car was actually during after choir practice, and we were going home, and she looked kind of sad, and she was telling me that while she was singing and practicing for the processional, there were some words, I guess, that kind of hit her, and it made her think about, believe it or not, the condition of the world. But the thing is, what you have to know about my daughter, she's a serious kid. She's 9, but she'll think about things way beyond what she should probably be thinking about. So she went in the car, and I asked her, "Are you okay?" You know, and she was like, "You know what, Mom? I'm just a little worried about what is happening in Paris." And I asked her, "Well, why are you even thinking about that?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then because she mentioned that because we're going to be going on a trip, you know, outside of the United States. And she's like, well, what if there are bad guys there? And well, so I had to collect myself, make sure I don't freak out and just be like, stop it, you're freaking me out. But I had
Mhm.
to really choose my words. And for this instance, I had to say a quick prayer in my head and be like, yeah, okay, I need help. I need help to guide my words here. And so I know, but I told her then was like, you know what? There are bad guys everywhere. There are bad guys in our backyards, and you can't worry about the bad guys because you're a member of the Church of Christ, right? And she was
Mhm.
like, yeah, but this is far away. I'm like, no, you're a member of the Church of Christ here. You're a member of the Church of Christ, 1,000 miles away from here, wherever you go. You're a member of the Church of Christ. And what does CWS teach you? Does it teach you to worry, teach you to be afraid? Like, who are the heroes in the Bible? You have David, right? And you have like our Lord Jesus Christ. He never worried about anything. And then I guess she started like, oh, that's right. And my husband chimed in, and he was like, you know what, honey? Like, none of the brethren in Paris were hurt. Even
Yeah.
though like one of the situations that happened was I think, really near to the venue of worship, of place of worship that we have there, but none of our
Mhm.
brethren got hurt. And then I think that's when she was like, oh, wow, look at the power of God. Look at how he takes care of all his people.
I love how you brought it back to God will always protect us. We need to remind ourselves as parents that we always got to bring it back to God.
And it's cool because, we teach and teach our kids, as best as we can, that God is always going to be in their life and that he's always going to be the one to help them. But it's great to hear it echoed back in their prayers,
Yeah.
like when they pray at night and they say things on their own, like, God, as little as like, God, please, Jasmine especially, she's like, please help me stop scratching,
From her
or just
eczema.
every single thing, every little thing. It's like, God, please help with this. Thank you for this, God. And it's just awesome to hear, like, oh, they're listening. They're listening to us.
Yeah, and they're
And yeah,
acknowledging God in everything. They're seeing him in everything in your life. That is
yes.
fantastic. Well, I mean, these are all great suggestions. I hope that all of us are going to continue on, so that we can keep on a solid unit of an INC family. We don't want our family, or any of the families really in the Church of Christ, to be part of that 70% statistic of young adults dropping out of religion. That's why we're having this discussion today, right? As suggestions for all our listeners out there, like, how can we create more conscious and meaningful ways to connect with our kids now and instill what it means to be a member of the Church of Christ, instill how to see God in everything, in every detail of our life. Thank you so much to the Buenavistas for joining us today. To
Thank
all
you.
Thank
you
you.
listeners out there, we have a challenge. I dare you to go on social media, show us, okay? Find a teachable moment where you are connecting with your kids spiritually. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you all next time here on Faith and Family.